I hate how politicians and people who put so much effort into professing their strength of the party or the gang, as I call it, because they ain't nothing but some gangs, bro.
Yeah.
When it comes down to conservatives and liberals, conservatives have just made it a way where they just make you bend over. But Democrats, man, they just convince you that it's consensual. You getting fucked.
Well, with that being said, obviously with this mass shooting and mass deaths, it brings up the conversation talking about gun control, and the Second Amendment debates follow closely behind. So I definitely want to ask the question, who or what is responsible? Who or what is responsible for these types of incidents? That's a damn good question. I know already what I want to say. Tony?
When it comes to me, and when I say things like, I don't like how they politicize it, and they're obviously going to do that, and they've been doing that with every single tragedy, and there's been so many polls and everything done and said, but when it comes down to it, and I've talked to people about this over and over again, I look at this situation, and again, I repeat myself, I have a son, I have a daughter, I have kids, but I'm going to say something that people are going to get mad about. They were just kids. According to our representatives and senators that we have in office who get all the protection they have and all the protection they need, they were just kids, right? I mean, we have institutions. They have airline marshals on side of planes for situations that happen. You know what I mean? It's like, if the kids are so important, right? They're so important to our senators, to our officials. Why wasn't there better protection there for our children? I zone into it and I see this, and it's obvious that this situation shouldn't happen and that it was preventable. There's things that could be done. There's some laws that could be in place that could have fixed this. But when you politicize it to take away the full-on agenda, which is to basically infringe on the Second Amendment and take away our rights, because that's the ultimate goal. That's why they continuously do this. They continuously attack it. That's where I'm just like, really? Really? The kid? I mean, we just have an administration, and I don't give a fuck about presidents, whatever, but we just had an administration give $40 billion over to another country for their people.
To be
why
able to
we're paying that, I don't know.
Themselves.
But y'all can't take at least $1 billion of that and maybe, let's say, have like some kind of structure to where our teachers ain't paid enough. Hey, you want to get paid a little bit more? Have a CCW. We'll give you $15,000 more for, because when people say, we should have armed guards at our schools,
but
they think that you're going to have AR-15s with teachers marching. No, like, have a couple of the teachers there with CCW, that are there.
You're cool with having your teacher with the gun in the class with your kid. You're cool with that.
I mean, here, we live in a society. This is what's crazy.
Where you're trusting the teacher to walk around with a CCW.
Let's talk about trust.
And I feel so.
Let's talk about trust.
And that's a different.
You allow your child to go to an institution to be with a stranger for 12 years to stick stuff in their head, but you ain't cool with them being there with a CCW to protect them? I mean, you gonna let them stick whatever inside their heads?
I mean, let's ask this question: have all teachers have the right track? Have you ever heard of any teachers molesting any of the students? Have you ever heard of any situations that you think would not be feasible for teachers to do, but actually happen?
I mean, we talking solutions, and if now you're asking the question: are teachers in majority, have the capacity to, wield a firearm in case of a situation? And we're talking solutions and stuff like that, but we're gonna get to all that.
I'm saying
we're gonna get to the solution. We're gonna get to that. No, but we're gonna get to the solutions. But I hear what you're saying. Going on the the politicizing the situation and going into it. I want to let you finish your point.
So, I mean, pretty much. So when we talk about, having a solution for the teachers that have a CCW, pay them extra money to do that. Instead of our tax dollars going somewhere else, why don't you pay for it for that? There's just so many questions I have, because when we look at deaths, right, in America, when we look at deaths when it comes to kids, and when we look at deaths in general, so when we're looking at deaths, right?
Okay, deaths.
So, I mean, I'm simple when it comes to that. I'm like, look, what's killing? You know what I mean? How many kids are being killed? This is senseless. What happened is completely senseless. And there's some other things that are, that kind of make sense. Well, people are going to die from that, et cetera, et cetera. But when it comes to this situation, I just feel like I don't know what point. There's too many points to make on different subjects. What did you want to say real quick, Rob?
I do want to go into, as Winton just stated, when these mass shootings happen, that the gun control, Second Amendment, that conversation is always close behind. And it's always ends up being a topic of conversation. I'm gonna get the statistics out the way before I go on, because I'm about to rant. Mass shootings contribute to 1%, less than 1% of all gun deaths. Period. Now, is that to say that makes the lives, especially of these kids or anyone that's involved or a victim to a mass shooting, make it insignificant? Absolutely not. It's death. Not only that, it's magnified because it's something that could have been contained or prevented. So that's why we do have to focus on it. But it does make it very convenient for both sides of the aisle to use it as a lightning rod to defend or create a narrative or some type of conversation surrounding legislation that at the end of the day only is going to get one person or the other elected. Right. It ain't nothing. It ain't got nothing to do with anything else. But I'm really about to go in now, and I'm about to go in tough on this whole situation. I'm about to go on both sides of the aisle here, both on the liberal side and the conservative side. I'm gonna start with the liberals right now. I've said this so often, when it comes down to conservatives and liberals. Conservatives have just made it a way where they just make you bend over. But Democrats, man, they just convince you that it's consensual. You're getting fucked. And the way that they operate is they use situations like this to politicize, that they try to feed and take advantage of the emotions of those families, of those parents, of America in general, that anyone would be empathetic and sympathetic with kids senselessly dying.
Preach. Keep going.
And they want to do that so they can get elected and get bills passed so that they can further their agenda, whatever that may be. We can debate on what that may be, what that is, and all of that. But I'm not here to do that. But at the end of the day, it's for their benefit. Whose benefit? Senators? The politicians.
Senators?
The politicians' benefit.
Because
it's their benefit.
Isn't it the senator's job to make these things
But it's all of them. Anyone that's dealing with legislation, the senators, House of Representatives, anyone that's dealing with politics, is to their benefit.
They're lobbied by a higher power.
Right. So that's that side of it. And that's the part that I feel like is so disgusting, especially when you're dealing with the politics and dealing with the left, who are, trying to push so many laws and things like that infringe on the Second Amendment or laws that are in place. That I understand that aspect, and I think it's disgusting how they use these events to try to push that agenda. Because if you want to talk about it, like I said, it's 1%. If you actually gave a shit about gun death, then what's up with another 99?
Right.
You ain't talking shit about that. You're not bringing up anything. You're not trying to pass bills. And I'm not speaking for everybody. If there's exceptions to everything. Obviously, there are senators. There are people in Congress. There are people that are on the ground level that are actually doing work in politics, that actually do care and trying to make progression in that. So I'm not speaking to you. I'm not speaking to you in the general in that context. But for the majority, that's how they operate. Now I'm really about to go.
Come on, man. You already hit the liberals, Democrats. What you got?
You
what
conservatives. And I'm going to really speak on this. So we about to get real deep with this right now.
We went political on the show. And nigga, I hear Democrat and Republic. Shit, goddamn. Keep going.
If I hear another conservative or Republican talk about it's my right and my Second Amendment, I'm going to be sick. You need to shut the fuck up.
Goddamn.
There are so many conservatives out there that talk about I'm willing to die for the Second Amendment.
Goddamn.
Number one, if the government, let's break down the Second Amendment right now. It's basically to have your right to bear arms just in case of a tyrannical government. Period. That's kind of what it comes down to.
Correct.
Got it.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
They've already beat you. You think your government's going to come after you physically? They've already done it. Financially, which leads to mental stress and keeping you broke with taxes. They've already fucked you. But I don't see nobody uprising about taxes. I don't see nobody talking about I'm about to die unless these taxes go down to 10%. I don't see nobody talking about saying I'm willing to die if these gas prices don't get back to where it's some realm of normalcy. So to all you conservatives that talk about, I'm the red, white, and blue, and we talk about Memorial Day, I'm going to stick it with the Second Amendment. Shut the fuck up. Because you ain't about shit. You claim that as it's like some type of badge that was some bill that was created in 1776, which had its essence of it, which it was created, was just for people for protection. But I'm gonna be honest with you. Let's just keep it a buck. And this is someone who owns a gun. Let's just keep it 100.
You mean protection for themselves or protection against the government? Because there's actually protection for the government.
Protection from, but I'm thinking from protection of themselves. But I want to go further on this. It's how most conservatives operate. That's usually their speech, and that, I'm for America. I'm for freedom. I'm for all the amendments. I'm for all the Bill of Rights. I'm for what our forefathers fought for, and all this type of stuff. Let's keep it 100, man. You say so strong to that. You speak so highly of these Second Amendments and all these amendments and how they're all sacred. Bills need to get adjusted. Period. If we went just based on what was built in 1776, we'd still be enslaved right now. They had to make adjustments. They had to change shit. Back at the time when the Second Amendment was penned, there wasn't no gun that could let off a 100-round drum. There's different shit now. You got to keep up with technology. There is an issue with that.
Question: do you think privilege or right?
What are you talking about?
When it comes to Second Amendment, do you believe it's a privilege or a right?
Well, right now it is a right. It's something that you have the right to bear arms. Okay. That's the way the amendment is built. And we can speak to what states infringe on that more than others, because obviously there's different gun laws in different states. But from a macro level, what the Second Amendment is built for is for that, which I'm not against. But what I am against is the people that just stand on it, because a lot of the people that just say they want to speak for the Second Amendment, they just want to do it just because of that. Just because they want to fight for their gang, which is the conservative gang. Just like the Democrats want to fight for their gang, which is the leftist gang. It ain't nothing but a game. They don't give a shit about these kids. I just want to protect I just want to have the ability to say, I want to keep my gun. With no context behind it, with no rhyme or reason. I'm sorry, the government, they going to beat you. You ain't got a tank.
Regardless.
They gonna get you. So this whole thing about, I gotta protect myself getting tyrannical, get the fuck out of here. They're already doing it. They're already killing you with your taxes. They're already taking it out your pocket. But you ain't doing shit. You ain't willing to die for that. But you willing to die for just to have just to say that I want to have the right to have my gun. Get the fuck out of here. There's so much hypocrisy with that. Yeah. And they push that agenda so much. When it comes to politics, all these politicians, Abbott, Cruz, and I'm speaking to them, we're dealing with Texas, they in the pockets with all these gun laws. They in the pockets. They're benefiting from getting this. This is the reason why they keep pushing it, is because they keep getting reelected.
I just want to go back to the conservative talk on that, and I agree. Actually, I was hoping I didn't agree, but I agree with that, because of the fact that, yes, like a lot of people don't understand that the Revolutionary War was fought over the Boston Tea Party, over a 10% tax on fucking tea.
I get you.
But yet we taxed at 40% on federal income tax, and y'all ain't fighting? Like, literally, your founding fathers and everybody else would be like, you guys ain't shit. Like, we fought for a lot less, and you guys ain't doing nothing right now. And that actually is the problem I have with conservatives, that they're not fighting right now. Y'all should have been fought. But in terms of the Second Amendment, though, what I will say is that do not infringe on the right. It's more, to me, and what I see, it's more symbolic to the fact that a government can't, and it's more in the sense of, like, for instance, when we got into that strike right back in AT&T days, like, I think they do fear that, you know what I mean, when it comes to high-powered rifles and things like that. Because I'll be honest, even that discussion, which we might get into, if for somebody to say AR-15 is a very dangerous high-powered rifle, you just don't go shooting. You actually don't understand shooting, because as fast as I can shoot an AR-15, I can shoot a hand pistol the same speed. Like, I just have to put an extended mag and it's the same gun. So it's like, really, when you talk about that, I just don't think you go shooting. Like, but when it comes to Second Amendment, like, overall, like, it's more symbology, you know what I mean? To the fact that, like, if we did go on strike, or if we did protest, really what it is about protesting as a people, as a collective, they wouldn't be able to stop that.
You said it's symbolic. Are we? So we're going to start getting into this. In 1994, there was an assault rifle ban. If that ban had still been going on, Northwestern University did a study on this. 30 mass shootings would have been eliminated. What do you say to that?
You talked about 1% though.
But at the end of the day, 30% is a big curve. 30 is a big curve. That's a lot of people not in that 1%, because at the end of the day, it is 1%.
Right. But about 200
but you were able to reduce that amount. What that speaks to, and I'm not just saying, okay, let's go back to the law that was back in 1994 that ended in 2004, because it went on for about 10 years. I'm not even saying that. What I'm saying is that conservatives, especially, you need to get off of this whole idea that if you give an inch, they're gonna take a mile on you. You need to get the fuck off that.
You don't think that they would go after handguns and shotguns?
You need to get the fuck off of it, because everything has to get updated. I'll give you a perfect example dealing with landline phones. Landline phones of that type of technology, plain old telephone service, anyone that's in telecommunications, is 100% guaranteed service. They're trying to pass laws now to make it where internet is that. Why is that? Because technology's changing. Back in 1776, there wasn't no fucking 100-round drum. Technology has changed to where the gun is. So you have to adjust. You have to adjust. And I'm not saying that,
because it's what I gotta say.
I'm not saying that you need to enact like we need to the conversation in which what that law needs to be. I think that's going to take a lot more research and a lot more smarter people than myself, and a lot more people that are privy to information on both sides. That's on gun education. That's on politics. That's on how laws are built. All these different type of things. But you need to move off of this whole idea that if we move a little bit off this Second Amendment, which, as you just stated, is symbolic. So we're holding on for symbolism. That's what we hold on.
There's already 300 federal laws though in place to basically ban.
I'm sorry. You got to be able to move. You got to be able to move the needle. You have to be able. You have to be willing to change a little bit. But
to what end though? There's 300 federal laws already in place.
Laws change. Who is responsible is the main point I'm trying to get at.
I'm trying to tell you right now. Listen, when you make a law, there needs to be a reason for the law. Like, think about it. You can't keep these. There's already 300 federal laws banning specifics on guns, rounds, drums, all kinds of stuff. That's not going to change nothing. You have to talk about the behaviors of what happened in this situation specifically. Who did it? Why they did it? The root cause of it.
Well, basically, the assault ban in 1994 would have prevented that. The studies have already shown that.
Yeah, here we go.
And it would have prevented the one in Buffalo. As I stated, I'm not saying that we need to go back to that. But the point that I'm making is that, and this is the part where I want people to start opening up to. And this is on both sides of the aisle. You need to get out of this ideology that we cannot change or we cannot evolve. Both sides need to start thinking that way, because what we get into is that we're just gonna have these two firm gangs off to the left and the right, and we're gonna say we're just gonna hold on it just because of that, not even because it actually is effective. That's what I see. Most people that talk about when you see it on social media, people talking, I'm gonna hold on to the Second Amendment right, I'm gonna die before they take my gun away. But you ain't talking about dying after they've taken fucking 40% of your money.
But going back
to change, part of the change.
That's not going to change.
People are willing to give money away for our soldiers now. We need to take it. Talk about this study in order to keep up with what we were doing. Keep going.
I need to talk about this study.
Keep going.
I really need to talk about the studies. I don't know where you're getting the study from. I'm telling you right now.
Northwestern University. You can look it up.
Northwestern University. I'll definitely look it up on my own time. My thing is this: the law has to pertain. It has to pertain to the situation and the root cause of what happened, why it happened. Like, if you're going to create more laws to continuously chip away and chip away and chip away at the Second Amendment, yes, you will have a time where they will come for the handguns and the shotguns eventually. They will one day do that because of the fact that you keep going towards that. My solution was something I think just should happen, is that a different type of gun, like basically Japan, other countries, this has been shown through studies already. Japan has some of the greatest gun laws, I think, me personally, because of how long it takes to even get a gun. I think you should have 3 references. Just like you need references for a job. I think you should have references.
But to your point, I think that goes to the adjustment. Most people that keep talking about and nailing it home about the Second Amendment, they're not even opening up to that.
Yeah, I think they should do that.
They're not even open up to the idea that, and I've been saying this, and this is me as a gun owner. The question should be longer than you getting your motherfucking driver's license.
Right, 100%. It should be.
Get the fuck out of here. You opening up a bank account, you get a gun? Get the fuck out of here. No.
And I don't think
you should be able when especially something that has the ability to cause that much destruction. We're not in the day and age where someone's taking a musket and I got to pound the powder and all that shit all in the fucking gun, and then I let one shell off.
Right.
But we ain't in them days anymore. You can let off a 100-round drum in a couple seconds.
But here's my thing. In that case, you're saying that a government would never be tyrannical then.
They already are. They're raping you right now.
I know, but I'm saying
they've done it. They've done it mentally.
Right.
That's the point I'm trying to make with that. That's the connection I'm trying to make. They've already done it. You think they're about to come at it, or not you, but people that think like the Second Amendment is the end all be all. You think they about to come in here with force. They're not. They've already got your minds already, because they attacked you financially, which when you don't have finances or means to create a living for yourself, what happens? Strife, mental illness, you go into poverty, all that shit. It's all eroding at the same time. They're already doing it. So that's what I'm talking about. Get the fuck out of here about this whole idea that they're about to be coming to your front door, busting your shit down, and thinking they're about to take you over. I'm sorry, they already have done it.
We're in a house.
They've already done
that's
it.
Pretty much on fire, is what you're saying. We're in a house that's on fire already. They're gonna burn you out. But all I'm saying is, when we go out that door, we have something. Will be a day that I hope, and I don't want to incite anything.
They've just convinced you that it's civilized.
Right.
They already have.
And I'm saying that's the one thing I want to hold on to. It's like, no, if I come out, I'm going to come out fighting. You're not going to take that away from me. So yeah, I'm going to keep my 30 round, and I'm not going to let you do it less than that, because you can modify that shit, all that. You know what I mean? If the biggest thing is a criminal's going to do a crime, murder is already illegal. They're going to do it. You know what I mean? Regardless. In this situation, yes, it could have been prevented, because like I said before, if you would have had a law in place that basically he had to have 3 references, one of them being law enforcement, et cetera, et cetera. And these references will be called out if a mass shooting were to occur, and they will be fined. You have like little, kind of laws put in place like that, like policies that actually punish the references as well. I personally feel like I'd be okay with that. Even someone that believes in, the rights that we've, been given, and now kind of feeling this more of a privilege, because somebody like this monster that went and did what he did shouldn't have been a right for him. But once you have those references, I think references think twice, like, ooh, hold on, he looks like he shops at Hot Topic and watches anime and doesn't wear deodorant. I'm gonna second guess him. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they would have said some shit like that and kept him from getting that gun. So in that sense, yes. But when you talk about them coming immediately after Second Amendment, I understand that the full agenda, other countries, World Economic Forum, Collateral Commission, all of these organizations out there, that the highest of the elite, they hate America. They hate the fact that we own guns and have guns. And in a country where you have 400 million guns and counting, basically more guns than people, there's not going to be a law in place that's going to fix anything, or you're not going to take all the guns off the streets. Because I would agree with you. If you can go take away the guns, cool, I'll agree with you, but you're not going to. Criminals are now just going to have them. You know what I mean? Talk about...
No, and that's to the point, and that's where the I guess when we start talking and having these conversations, and that's when we start getting to the real issue. And that's why I want to stay on the 1% issue right now. If we're talking about gun violence in general, it's laughable when I look at how leftists go about it, and Democrats try to rationalize the whole idea of, with gun violence, because you are not doing shit. And that's the part where I find so disgusting, as I stated earlier, is that they only find events like this, which pulls on the heartstrings. But they don't. But bro, look at Chicago, look at Oakland, look at LA. The places is on fire when it comes down to gun violence. But you ain't nowhere to be found, politicians, in regards to trying to deal with those issues. Because at the end of the day, to solve those issues, you'd have to basically go reverse of the agenda you're already enacting. Those people are in poverty, and they ain't got nothing. That's what's going to happen. When you take away money, you take away resources, you take away education, you take away hope. That's what happens. Motherfuckers die. Because what they're going to do, they're going to steal and rob and do whatever from the people that's next to them, that's in close proximity. That's why we laugh when they talk about black on black crime. That's the most idiotic thing ever. People murder who's next to them.
Yeah.
So when we start talking about that issue, that's a different conversation. But when we're focused here on this 1% and we're trying to reduce these mass shootings, we're trying to reduce those type of things, there are checks and balances. I think that the conservative side, especially, because they seem to be the stonewall on this whole thing, and I just think it's just dumb. I think they look idiotic. They sound idiotic when they talk about it, because you're not putting that same effort in issues that are already killing you.
Right.
They're already killing you, but you just holding on to the Second Amendment like it's the end all be all. And I just call you out on your bullshit.
Really just what makes the headlines, isn't it? Because we have over 900,000 kids a year human trafficked, never seen again. 100%. But yet only 500 for mass shootings, and that's people. That's not even kids. It's like, wait, let's really look at the numbers here. Like, we should be worried more about human trafficking than we should about, because that's, if we talk about where we're going to put our money, and again, giving $40 billion to another country, Yet we don't have free healthcare. We could have used that $40 billion for free healthcare here. We could have, you know
It's
what I
all-
mean?
it all comes
and I don't
to-
want to go down the rabbit hole. That's why I was scared of. You know what I mean?
But
it's
it all comes down to the finances. A lot of these politicians that are in support of or in states or areas that basically benefit them supporting gun law or supporting the gun law, the Second Amendment, and preserving it as it is, that there's money in their pockets, as I stated, with Ted Cruz and Abbott.
But
Those motherfuckers, to me,
Right.
are pieces of shit.
But that made headlines?
Their money's in their pocket because of that. So I from when you start, analyzing those politicians, their motives, what they vote on, how they vote on it, those type of, and their reasoning for it.
Right.
Bro, you can there's websites that show you what contributions who makes to
Who
who,
made to who.
and you can follow the money,
Follow the
man.
money. Mhm.
Follow the money, man.
Would that have made headlines though? If he would have stole human trafficked them kids?
No,
That's what's crazy. That's what
No.
I'm trying to say. It's like
because number one is
Doesn't fit the
because the gun
agenda.
control and that whole idea is such a hot button topic. It's not about and unfortunately
It's not about the kids.
And anyone's that's listening, if you're a parent and you know someone that's been a victim to this event or any other event, we're not saying this, but in the grand scheme of things, they don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care about the kids.
They don't care about the kids.
They don't care about the kids. So we're taking the mass shooting out of it. We're just talking about preserving young life. They don't care about that because, as you just stated, and given an example in regards to sex trafficking, if you gave a damn, you would be fighting tooth and nail to prevent that. But there's even money in that. We ain't gonna get into all that.
Oh,
but
yeah, please don't.
but did you have anything to say on this? When
man, y'all went down a motherfucking rabbit hole on that subject, God.
And it's a hard,
damn.
it's a hard conversation to have, but I think it's necessary. The Democrats and Republicans operate, bro, way better than the Crips and Bloods ever would.
Sure.
Like it's the gangs of all gangs.
Protection and safety. Have some type of training class. I don't care from what age. But shit, there has to be some type of responsibility from up top on down.
And I agree with making it harder for them to get a gun because at that point, let's say you are red, white, and blue in goddamn America, right? That's fine. That's fine. You can't wait a year to just like, and I know they hate saying compromise. You got to in today's age. Things have changed. You have to compromise a little bit. And it's not going to take away. You're still going to have Billy down the road that has a machine gun and a rocket launcher. You're good, bro. If this fight happens, we good. We got people with some shit. Okay, we're good. If this fight ever happens that we're talking about. But it's like, ultimately, bro, like, look, have them have references. Have them have proper checks. Mental health, everything, because mental health is an issue. Because when we look at all these shootings, I'm sorry, I ain't seen no females in there. It's all males, man. It's almost like you can pick these people out, and you know what I mean. Like you literally can see a guy and be like, yeah, he's a mass shooter.
But I think
You know what I mean?
that's to the bigger issue, and as you're asking the question, it's a very hard question. It does not have a simple answer to it.
It doesn't.
When it comes down to the responsibility side of it, and who's responsible, what's responsible, what can be done, what solutions can we put out there. It's such a a complex issue. The biggest thing right now, the buzzword, what's popular right now is mental health. Everyone's saying, oh, we got to focus on the mental health and focus on this and focus on that. We need to start paying attention to these kids or these people that are exhibiting these habits of behavior that are similar to ones who commit these type of heinous acts. I'll be honest, man.
Everybody's
that part, to me, that's easy to say. To me, I hate when people say stuff just because it sounds good. I want to hear what's effective. That's an easy thing to say. Is it correct? Yes, it's correct. Right. But it's such an easy thing to say because I see so many people out there that will say the exact opposite and be like, man, I mind your own business. I mind my own business. Right. I ain't doing shit. I don't know. I don't care what's going on at that house. I'm worried about mine. Right. I see so many people doing that. So when we start talking about, oh, we need to focus on this and that, man, ain't nobody doing that. Ain't nobody doing that. Like, so at the end of the day, what will it come? What does it take? And we do have to dissect and go at the specifics of what event is contributed to what. So when we're talking about mass shootings, even though that only makes up 1%, as I stated, that is a small number in comparison to gun deaths in general.
You can still save some, right?
But you're still trying to save some, and you still gotta. At the end of the day, I've said this so many times, man. I talked about it on film, man. Like the Joker said it. Heath Ledger's character in The Dark Knight. He said, when everything's going to plan, nobody panics.
Right.
He said, but when you say that, you know, a mayor's going to get shot,
right,
or a school bus full of kids is going to blow up, everybody loses their mind.
Everybody loses their mind.
But that is so real to how society thinks. So with that ideology, that is true, because we understand that is something that is not supposed to happen. So we need to be able to come up with ways that's going to move the needle so it lessens that or curves that to the point of satisfaction. Are you going to be able to eliminate it completely? Absolutely not, because that's where the side you're dealing with the mental health. You're always going to have people that are just not in the right state of mind. They're basically, a lot of people are not dealt the right hand in life. You got to think about this. Like, just think about yourself and see where you place in life. Compare yourself to the most richest person in the world. Somebody has unlimited resources, you know, and compare yourself to them and think where you land, right? Just think about that for a second. Now think how many rungs lower below you could be. That's where a lot of these people be living. So when you start talking about mental health, that's where they are. They are living in hell for them. And I'm not making an excuse for it. I'm saying that's just the reality of it. So you're not going to be able to solve that 100%. Even if you focused on them, even if someone gave that person attention, okay, that's one person that didn't want to mind their own business. But you're still going to have others that's still doing the same thing. So it's such a complex question. But I do think we need to take steps in the right direction on both sides. Both of these gangs need to really start getting to more of a center, because we can make adjustments. There can be adjustments made that are for the benefit overall. And this whole idea where people are scared of compromise, or scared of, you know, oh, we're giving away our liberties and our freedoms and all this other good body nonsense. It's bullshit. That's Facebook talking. That's that Facebook talk. That fake patriotism. That shit makes me sick.